The glow of city lights flickered through the windshield as I drove, the rhythmic hum of the tires against the road, lulling the car into a deceptive sense of normalcy. Emily sat beside me, humming softly to the radio, her fingers lazily scrolling through her phone. She looked stunning tonight, the way she always did after these company events. A sleek black dress hugging her figure, lips painted a deep red that I had kissed before we left, oblivious to what was coming. Then my phone pinged. I glanced down at the screen, expecting some work email or a text from friend. But no, it was an airdrop. Curious, I tapped accept, and just like that, my world imploded. A picture filled my screen. Emily, in Jason's arms, her lips crushed against his, hands gripping his collar, bodies pressed together in a way that left no room for doubt. It wasn't just a kiss. It was hunger, desire, lust. My grip on the steering wheel tightened, the leather creaking under my fingers. My throat went dry, my stomach twisting into a violent knot. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an accident. Someone had sent this to me. I flicked my eyes toward Emily. She was still scrolling, oblivious, her face bathed in the soft glow of her screen. Who the hell sent this? And why now? I forced myself to swallow down the bile, creeping up my throat. My mind spun, racing through every possibility. Had Jason sent it? No, that would be idiotic. Someone else knew. Someone wanted me to see this. I turned my eyes back to the road. My pulse pounded in my ears, drowning out the soft music playing through the speakers. She didn't know. Not yet. Not that my world had just crumbled. Not that I suddenly felt like a man gripping a ticking bomb, seconds away from detonation. But I didn't say a word. Instead, I saved the image, and I kept driving. I pulled into the driveway, the weight of the image still pressing down on my chest like a steel beam. My hands felt stiff against the wheel, my knuckles pale from how hard I had been gripping it. Emily unbuckled her seatbelt with a soft sigh, stretching her arms. "That was nice," she murmured, a small smile playing on her lips. "We should go out more often, you know, just the two of us. Maybe a weekend getaway." The words hit like a slap. I forced myself to nod, my face betraying nothing. "Yeah, maybe." She leaned over and kissed my cheek, those same lips that had been on Jason's earlier tonight, and slipped out of the car, humming as she walked up the steps to the front door. I followed, feeling like a stranger in my own home. Once inside, she kicked off her heels and stretched, letting out a content sigh. "I'm exhausted. You coming up?" I swallowed the bitter taste in my mouth. "In a bit. Just gonna check some emails." She didn't push, didn't hesitate, just smiled and disappeared upstairs. I stood there in the dimly lit kitchen, my heart still hammering against my ribs. I had been with Emily for almost 7 years, married for 5. I knew her better than anyone, or at least I thought I had. I took out my phone again, staring at the picture. The more I looked, the worse it got. Jason's hands were all over her, his fingers tangled in her hair, her body flush against his. It wasn't some drunken mistake. It was passion. I exhaled slowly, then opened Emily's messages. Nothing. No text from Jason. No sub conversations. No hints or clues. But then, at 2 a.m., her phone vibrated on the nightstand beside her. I turned my head slowly. Emily was asleep, her breath steady, her body curled under the sheets like she didn't have a care in the world. I reached over and picked up her phone, my hands ice cold. The screen lit up with a message from an unknown number. He knows now, just like I did. I felt a chill creep up my spine. My breathing turned shallow, my grip tightening around the phone. Someone was watching us, and I had no idea who. Sleep never came. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while Emily slept peacefully beside me. My mind replayed the message over and over. He knows now, just like I did. I read it again, hoping some new meaning would emerge, but it remained cryptic and taunting. Who the hell was this? Just like I did. That meant whoever sent it had been through this before. Had Emily done this before? Was Jason her first? My stomach twisted at the thought. I gritted my teeth and placed her phone back on the nightstand, careful not to make a sound. There was no way I could confront her yet, not without knowing everything. By morning, Emily was up early, slipping into the bathroom while I feigned sleep. I heard the shower running, the faint hum of her voice singing something off-key. A normal morning. A lie. I forced myself up and dressed for work, moving on autopilot. By the time I arrived at the office, I had already decided my next move. I wasn't just going to ask Emily what was going on. I was going to find out myself. Jason greeted me like nothing had happened. "Hell of a night." "Huh," he said, sipping his coffee. Didn't think it would run that late. I studied him, searching for cracks in his mask. Did he know? Did he send the message? No, his eyes were too clear, too smug. If Jason knew I had proof, he wouldn't be acting so normal. But someone else knew, and they weren't done. At exactly 11:15 a.m., my phone pinged. Another airdrop. I inhaled sharply and tapped accept. This time it was a video. My stomach dropped as I pressed play. The shaky camera followed two figures sneaking away from the company event, Emily and Jason. The timestamp was from last night. The angle suggested it was taken from a distance, like someone had been watching them. Emily looked around nervously before gripping Jason's hand and leading him down a dimly lit hallway. The video cut off just as Jason pulled her into a side room. I gripped my phone so tightly my fingers ached. Someone wasn't just exposing them. They were playing a game, and I was right in the middle of it. My pulse thundered in my ears. Who the hell was doing this? I glanced around the office, scanning faces. Nobody looked suspicious. Nobody looked like they had just sent me a video that could shatter my marriage. I turned back to Jason. He was at his desk, chatting with a co-worker, completely at ease. He had no idea. No, this wasn't his doing. But someone wanted me to know. Someone wanted me to see. I clenched my jaw and saved the video, just like I had with the picture. I wasn't about to show my hand just yet. Instead, I spent the rest of the workday in a daze, barely hearing anything my colleagues said. My mind was stuck on the video, on the way Emily had looked around before slipping away with Jason. She knew it was wrong. She knew she was betraying me, and she did it anyway. By the time I got home, I had made my decision. I was going to confront her. I walked into the house, tossing my keys on the counter. Emily was in the kitchen, sipping a glass of wine, her phone in one hand. She glanced up and smiled, but it faltered when she saw my expression. "Ryan," she set her glass down. "You okay?" I pulled my phone out, tapped the screen, and turned it toward her. The picture. Emily gasped, her eyes going wide. Her hand flew to her mouth, and for a moment, she just stood there, frozen. Then tears. "Ryan," her voice cracked. I can explain." I kept my expression blank. "Go ahead." Her lower lip trembled. "It was a mistake." A bitter laugh escaped me. "A mistake? That doesn't look like a mistake, Emily. That looks like a choice." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Please," she whispered. I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you." My stomach churned. "Then why?" I said, my voice colder than I'd ever heard it. "Is someone sending me evidence?" Her face went pale. I caught the flicker of panic in her eyes. Not guilt, not sorrow, fear. She knew. She knew who was doing this. "Ryan," she swallowed hard. "It's him." I frowned. "Him." She squeezed her eyes shut. Then she whispered a name I had never heard before. "Nick." Something sharp twisted in my gut. "Nick." I echoed. Who the hell is Nick? Emily opened her eyes, and for the first time, I saw true fear in them. My ex. Her voice was barely above a whisper. The world tilted. I had never heard her mention an ex named Nick before. And if he was watching us, exposing her betrayal, that meant one thing. This wasn't about me. This was revenge. I stared at her, my mind whirling. Nick, her ex. A name I had never heard before, yet the way Emily said it was like speaking it aloud sent a chill down her spine. I folded my arms, my pulse hammering in my throat. "Explain. Now." Emily's eyes darted away, as if looking for an escape. "Ryan, please, this isn't what you think. Isn't it?" I cut in, my voice sharp, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've been screwing your coworker, and now your ex, a man I've never even heard of, is sending me proof. Her face crumpled, and she ran her hands through her hair. I never told you about Nick because it was a long time ago. It didn't matter. I clenched my jaw. It matters now. She exhaled shakily, then leaned against the counter. "We were engaged," she admitted finally. I stiffened. Emily had never mentioned being engaged before. I had always assumed I was her first serious relationship. He proposed right after college. I said yes. She continued, her voice distant, as if she were pulling herself back into a different life. But I met you. Her words hit like a hammer. I met you. Realization settled in my gut like a stone. You cheated on him with me. Emily winced. I let out a harsh breath, raking a hand through my hair. I had thought what we had back then was a whirlwind romance, that she had chosen me because it was me. But now, I was Jason. I was the guy she had sneaked around with, the guy she had craved when she was already committed to someone else. Jesus Christ. I never meant to hurt him, Emily whispered. I thought we were happy, but I realized I didn't love him the way I loved you. I shook my head, laughing bitterly. Yeah? And how long before you realize you don't love me either? Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't care. I was done feeling sorry for her. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. What did you do to him? Emily flinched. What? What did you do to make him come back after all these years? My voice was cold, each word sharp like a blade. Because no one does this, Emily. No one stalks their ex and waits for the perfect moment to expose them unless they really want payback. Her throat bobbed, and then, for the first time in our marriage, I saw it. Guilt. Not just for cheating, for something else. I left him with nothing, she murmured. My stomach clenched. I didn't just cheat, she continued, barely audible. I destroyed him. He lost everything because of me. What do you mean? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. She bit her lip, then whispered. He put everything he had into our life together. A house, a future, and then I left him for you. My hands curled into fists, and Emily's gaze dropped to the floor. And I took half of everything. The apartment, the money. I just want a fresh start, Ryan. I didn't think. I let out a slow, humorless laugh. You didn't think? You ruined his life. And now you're surprised he's coming after you? Emily shook her head. I thought he moved on. He disappeared after the breakup. No calls. No messages. Nothing. I thought he was okay. Well, he wasn't, I said darkly, holding up my phone. And now he's here, watching us. Emily paled, clutching the counter for support. What do we do? I didn't answer, because right now, I wasn't thinking about what we should do. I was thinking about what I was going to do. Emily stood there, pale and trembling, her breath uneven. But I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. She had done this to herself. And to me. I took a step back, gripping my phone tightly. My mind was moving a mile a minute, piecing it together. Nick had been watching, waiting. He hadn't just sent me that picture to hurt me. He had sent it to make a point. She destroys everything she touches. The thought made my stomach churn. I was starting to believe it. I inhaled deeply. Where's your laptop? Emily blinked, caught off guard. What? Your laptop? I repeated. Where is it? She hesitated for a second too long. Upstairs. What? Because I didn't trust her anymore. I turned and strode up the stairs without another word. Emily scrambled after me, nearly tripping over herself. Ryan, wait, what are you doing? I stormed into our bedroom, grabbed her sleek silver laptop from the nightstand, and flipped it open. The screen lit up, the familiar login page appearing. Password, I said. Emily folded her arms, shaking her head. Ryan, this is ridiculous. Password, I repeated, my voice sharp. Her jaw tightened, but she typed it in. The home screen appeared. I opened her email first. Nothing from Jason. Nothing from anyone suspicious. Then I checked her messages. Again, nothing. Emily exhaled. See? There's nothing here. I ignored her. I knew she had been careful, too careful. But I wasn't looking for messages. I was looking for traces. I went into her browser history. She made a noise of protest, but didn't stop me. And then I saw it. Nick Carter, LinkedIn profile. Cybersecurity expert, freelance consultant. I stared at the words, my blood turning to ice. Nick hadn't just been watching Emily. He had been hacking her. Jesus Christ, I muttered. Emily peeked over my shoulder, her face twisting in horror. Oh my God. I clicked the link, but the page had been wiped. Empty. No posts, no connections, no trace of the man she had ruined. It was like he existed only in the shadows. Ryan, Emily whispered, voice barely holding together. What does this mean? I turned to her, my jaw tight. It means he's been in your accounts, your emails, your messages, probably for years. Emily sucked in a sharp breath. But why now? Why is he doing this now? The answer came in another ping from my phone. I looked down. Another airdrop. I hesitated. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Slowly, I accepted it. A screenshot appeared. Emily's text to Jason. Hundreds of them. Months worth. Emily, Ryan is so dull sometimes. With you, I actually feel alive. Emily, God, I want you. I can't stop thinking about last night. The way you. I stopped reading. My hands shook. Emily peeked at the screen. The moment she saw the texts, she collapsed onto the bed, her face buried in her hands. No, she choked out. No, how'd he get these? How? I knew the answer. Nick had been watching for years. And now, he was making sure I saw everything. I clenched my jaw and looked at Emily, my stomach twisting in disgust. You didn't just cheat on me, I said slowly. You mocked me. Emily sobbed. Ryan, please. I turned away. I had seen enough, and so had everyone else. Because as I scrolled through the screenshots, I saw where Nick had sent them. Emily's employer, her colleagues, her family, everyone. Nick wasn't just exposing her. He was destroying her, and I wasn't going to stop him. Emily's breath came in sharp, panicked gasps as she stared at the screen. I watched her unravel in real time, her hands trembling as she gripped the bedsheets. This can't be happening, she whispered. He wouldn't do this. Not like this. But he would. And he did. I scrolled through the messages again, my stomach churning with every new line. It wasn't just flirting. It wasn't just sex. It was contempt. Emily, Ryan is predictable. Jason, you make me feel things I forgot existed. Emily, you wouldn't even know what to do with me the way you do. Emily, sometimes I wonder if I ever really loved him at all. That one fucking sentence hit me like a sledgehammer to the ribs. All the air left my lungs, and I had to remind myself to breathe. Emily was still crying beside me, muttering no, over and over again like she could undo the past just by denying it. I let the phone slip from my fingers onto the bed. I don't even know who the hell you are, I said, my voice hollow. Emily's head shot up, her tear-streaked face filled with desperation. Ryan, I love you. I do. I never stopped. I laughed. Actually laughed. It was bitter and humorless, scraping out of my throat like rusted metal. Really? Because it sure as hell doesn't look like love to me. She reached for me, but I took a step back. That hurt her. I saw it in her eyes. But it was nothing compared to the knife she had twisted into me. Her phone buzzed. Then mine. We both froze. Slowly, I reached for it, already knowing what I would find. Another message from the unknown number. This time, it wasn't just for me. It was for both of us. Nick, hurts, doesn't it? Now you know what she is. Emily let out a broken sob, her entire body shaking. I just stared at the screen, my mind blank. Because the worst part? He was right. Nick had played the long game. He had been watching, waiting, setting everything up. He had collected the evidence, pieced together her lies, and bided his time. And when Emily finally cheated again, he made his move. He wasn't just exposing her. He was making sure she felt what he had felt. And I had just been another piece in his revenge. Emily turned to me, desperation twisting her features. Ryan, please, we can fix this. I shook my head. There's no we anymore, Emily. She choked on a sob. Don't say that. But I wasn't saying it. I was accepting it. Nick had sent those texts to everyone. Her boss, her co-workers, her family. There was no one doing this. Emily's life, as she knew it, was over. And so was ours. Emily crumbled. She sat there on the bed, her face in her hands, shaking violently. The weight of what had just happened, of what Nick had done, was crushing her. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt nothing. Not anger, not sympathy, not even satisfaction. Just emptiness. Her phone buzzed again, but she didn't move. She just sobbed harder. I reached over and picked it up, flipping it toward her. You might want to check that, I said flatly. She hesitated before taking it from my hand. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked the screen. The moment she saw the message, she let out a strangled gasp. I leaned over, reading over her shoulder. It was an email, Subject: termination notice. From HR department to Emily Reynolds. Emily, due to recent discoveries that violate our company's ethical policies, we regret to inform you that your employment is hereby terminated, effective immediately. You will receive a formal letter via mail, along with details regarding your severance package. You are instructed to clear your workspace and return all company property by the end of the day. HR department. Emily let out a shaky breath, her entire body going stiff. No, she whispered. No, no, no. I just stared. Nick hadn't just exposed her. He had gone straight for the jugular. You slept with your co-worker, Emily, I said, my voice void of emotion. Did you really think that wasn't going to blow back on you? She turned to me, wild-eyed. Ryan, I need this job. I don't. She stopped herself, because we both knew the truth. I had been the one keeping her comfortable. The house? Mine. The car? Mine. Without that job, she had nothing. She sprang up from the bed, pacing frantically. I need to talk to Jason. Maybe he can... I barked out a laugh. Jason? Jason? You really think the guy who just got caught cheating on his wife is going to risk his career to save you? She froze. And then, as if on cue, her phone buzzed again. This time, the message wasn't from Nick. It was from Jason's wife. You're a disgrace. Don't ever go near my husband again. Emily let out a strangled sob and sank to her knees, shaking. Oh my God, she whispered. Oh my God, my life is ruined. I just watched, because Nick wasn't just punishing her. He was erasing her, and I wasn't going to stop him. I turned away, grabbing my keys from the dresser. I'm done here. Emily shot up, panic surging into her expression. Wait, Ryan, please. I paused at the door. Then, without looking back, I said, you wanted excitement, right? Well, now you have it. And with that, I walked out. Because this was her mess to deal with now. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. Not at Emily's crumpled form on the bedroom floor. Not at the wreckage of the life we had built together. For the first time in years, I felt free. But I wasn't done yet. Nick had set this game in motion, but there was one last piece left to fall. I drove aimlessly for a while, trying to quiet the storm raging inside me. Then, without thinking, I pulled into a parking lot outside a small, dimly lit bar. I had never been here before. It wasn't the kind of place Emily would have ever stepped foot in. That made it perfect. I walked inside, the scent of whiskey and cheap cologne hitting me immediately. The place was nearly empty, except for him. Nick. He was sitting at the bar, nursing a glass of bourbon. He looked exactly like I expected, calm, composed, and in control, like a man who had one. I took a slow breath and walked over, sliding into the seat beside him. He didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge me, but he smirked. I was wondering when you'd show up, he murmured, swirling his drink. I studied him. He was older than me, but not by much. Sharp features, dark eyes, the kind of presence that made people uneasy without him even trying. You planned all of this, I said, my voice even. Nick let out a low chuckle. Not all of it, he admitted. Emily did most of the work for me. I just helped things along. I clenched my jaw. How long have you been watching? Nick finally turned his head, meeting my eyes. Since the day she left me for you. My stomach twisted. She ruined me, Ryan, he continued, his voice smooth, almost conversational. Took my money, my home, everything I had built, and then she moved on like I was nothing. I swallowed. Nick leaned in slightly, his gaze unyielding. You ever wonder why she never talked about me? I didn't answer. Because she knew, he went on. She knew what she did to me. She knew that if she ever saw my face again, she'd have to remember it. And Emily? She doesn't like consequences. I exhaled slowly. So what now? Nick took a sip of his drink, then set it down. That depends on you. I frowned. What the hell does that mean? He smirked again. You could go back to her. Forgive her. Try to rebuild the mess she made. It's what I did once. His eyes darkened. Biggest mistake of my life. I let his words sink in. Then I shook my head. I'm not making that mistake. Nick raised his glass in a mock toast. Smart man. I stared at him for a long moment. Then, without another word, I stood up and walked away. By the time I reached the door, my phone buzzed one last time. Another airdrop. I hesitated before opening it. It was a video. Emily, sitting alone in our empty house, crying. And beneath it, Nick's final message. Poetic, isn't it? I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then, I deleted the message, because I didn't care anymore. It's been 3 months. Emily tried to call. She texted, begged. I ignored every single one. She lost everything. Her job, her reputation, her dignity. Jason's wife divorced him, took half of his assets, and moved across the country with their kids. The affair became office gossip, and Jason didn't last long after that. He resigned in disgrace. Emily? She moved out of our house 2 weeks after I left. I sold it, started over. Nick and I never spoke again after that night at the bar, but sometimes I think about him, about what he did, about what I did, and I realized something. I didn't lose Emily. I escaped her, and for that, I owe Nick Carter more than I'll ever admit.